There we go. It is very hard to start a video wearing these gloves, but I did like a crap ton of journaling on Sunday, and basically the method I used was kind of like just started writing, and then I would come up with questions about the stuff I was writing down, and then answer those questions, and then write down more questions I had about my answers, and just basically go like that. And it kind of forms like a tree that just grows out of one thing, and all the branches wind up enveloping and basically branching off into every possible topic. And it's really interesting, and I find it fascinating to kind of see how all of that connects together. But one of the outcomes of this journaling is a deeper understanding that everything comes from thought. All action is first thought about, and then that got me thinking, okay, well, how do we better control our minds? Because I have, this duality within me, this part of me calling me to be better, calling me to do better, and then I have what the Stoics would call, or the Christians would call, the more animalistic side, which is the side of like giving in to my lower behaviors, the dopamine seeking behaviors, indulging in whatever foods I want to eat, watching whatever I want to watch, watching as much TV as I want to watch. And I mean, these aren't, as anyone who's indulged these cravings, they're not higher aspirations. They don't lead you to where you want to be led. So then the question comes, well, how do I not partake in them? How do I better control myself? And it all stems from controlling your thoughts, which brought me back to Stoicism. Because this isn't new. Like, this is literally not new. People have been asking themselves, how do I be the best version of myself that I can be, since, at least 300 BC, predates the Bible. But people have been studying this for years, and the writings we have on it just go back to 300 BC with Stoicism. But I'm pretty sure Taoism is even older than that. So I went back and I looked at some of the philosophies, and I did a bunch of journaling on that, and I'm going to make some videos on it. But it basically comes down to controlling your mind. And how do you control your mind? Well, you control what your mind is exposed to, because the things you expose yourself to will dictate your thoughts. I don't know about anyone else, but when I was younger, I watched Scrubs and Grey's Anatomy, and guess what? I wanted to be a surgeon. And then, what was another show I watched? Burn Notice, I want to be a spy. I'm not sure if anyone else has ever had this. I know a couple of people I've talked to. It's like when you watch 10 seasons of 6 seasons of Scrubs or Grey's Anatomy or some medical show or some show about FBI agents, you start thinking, I should do that when I get older. It's how it goes. But the media you watch will influence the thoughts you have, and those thoughts will basically dictate the actions you take, and those actions lead back to the media you consume. And throughout that process, you have a little bit of self-control at the point of, once you have that thought, you can either change that thought by changing and having, you can't really control your first thought, but you can control your second one, which is another video I've made. But you can have a second thought. You can replace that. You can have the impulsive thought of, hey, let's go watch a bunch of TV. Let's open a bag of chips. And then you can have that second thought of, you know what? I did really well today dieting. I hit the gym. I'm not going to open that bag of chips. And you put it away. That's controlling your second thought. That's about as much control as you actually have in life. Is you have the ability, when you feel good, when you are conscious, to control that second thought. And through controlling that second thought, you're going to influence by exposing yourself to new media. Instead of opening that bag of chips and watching TV, you might read a book, which might inspire you to do something else. And you can either choose to go with that inspiration or choose not to. But it's basically how it goes. Which is why I make videos talking about how important it is to jump on the good thoughts you have, not necessarily let them slip away, because you don't know when that thought is going to come back. And I don't know if anyone else has had these thoughts or believes the brain works in the following ways, but it's how I believe it to work and how I've noticed it to work. And speaking about that, after I made the tree showing how all the stuff branches out, I basically touched on most of the topics, or at least briefly went over most of the topics in the 100 plus pages that I wrote that delve into most of the areas of self-help, or at least self-improvement. And looking at it from a Stoic point of view, I was just like, holy crap, there is really nothing new in terms of self-development in the past 2,000 years. Like, literally, the new stuff is just people repackaging old stuff and then marketing it in really good ways. Like Tony Robbins, don't be a victim. If you read the parables, if you read the Bible, there are a lot of lines and quotes basically saying the exact same thing. Do I think Tony Robinson is bad for doing this? Hell no. It is great that people have motivation to go out there and help others and have the marketing skills to actually make a difference in the world by convincing people to better themselves. Because that is a really, really hard thing to do, is to actually make someone want to be a better version of themselves when they don't yet have that desire. And yeah, but anyways, I was looking at it and I was seeing how basically modern self-help, modern stuff, I don't know, a lot of the stuff on human podcasts, they basically just take information that we've known for a while and be like, oh, and it's the dopamine receptor, or norepinephrine is released during this activity, which is why you have this. In my personal opinion, I'm like, I don't really care why. Like, I read this older stuff and I'm like, that makes sense. That is, like, they're showing me the connections, they're explaining how the mind works. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what I've seen in my understanding of it. But some people want to have I can't really do quote unquote, my hands are freezing right now, the science of it. And I'm like, I don't really give a crap about the science. I mean, it's nice to know about, but like, the anecdotal stuff, I also put a ton of saying, because it's like, there's so much written about the mind throughout time, and just reading the writings, the people can describe in very good detail exactly how the mind works and how thoughts work and behaviors and addictions and all of this stuff before we ever had the word dopamine to necessarily slap on it. So, but I get some people some people believe in science so much that just because you slap a little science on something, they'll have the faith to actually put it into action in order to give it a shot, which is good, because however you can get someone to do it, just convincing them that they can do something will help them at least be a step closer to doing it. Like the Wim Hof quote. I don't know. I think I'm going to butcher it. A man says he can't, and therefore he doesn't, or he can't. A man believes he can, and therefore he does. It's something like that. But it's basically, if you believe you can do something, you can do it. If you believe that this self-help or self-improvement thing is going to work because of the dopamine receptor and this and that and that and that, then guess what? It's actually probably going to work. Even if our understanding of the brain is completely wrong, because you believe in this false science, hey man, the placebo effect is a hell of a thing. But, I don't know. If you have any questions about what I said, comment them down below, and I'll make videos addressing them. But my fingers are freezing off here, so I'm signing off for today.